I use this kind of visual for myself that every day is a race. There's a start, everybody's waiting. Let's call it 9 a.m. when a lot of people arrive at work. The end of the race is 5 p.m. What you're able to do within those productivity hours dictates your place in the race. Well, what if you could get a head start to that race and it wasn't considered cheating? Prepare to win the day every morning. Chapter 4, We Ouchie. Limited podcast series on my book, Undressed, the unfiltered story of my failed American dream and how it led to success. We're going through each chapter, highlighting the field guide, which are the lessons learned from each one. And I'm elaborating on some context behind them and just my views on them in general. What you need to know: never stop moving forward. It's so important for forward momentum in the beginning stages of your journey, because the obstacles are going to be so gigantic that you're going to feel like you're moving backwards. And in those moments, you need to find any way imaginable to claw your hands into the dirt or on the side of a mountain or on the limb of a tree, and you need to gain an inch at minimum every day. You have to move forward. Reminders everywhere to move forward. Your mirror, your car, your office, sticky notes, write it on your hand. Every day must be forward progression. I don't care if it's an inch. I don't care if it's a mile. We need forward progression come hell or high water. And that happens with constant reminders, because fires are going to come. Things are going to blow up. People are going to quit. You're going to miss payroll. Bottles are going to break. Trucks aren't going to show up, and you are going to feel like you are just falling behind. You must organize your day, and I have a journal template that I'm now selling, which breaks down my day so that I can accomplish anything, or at least touch it, so that I can have forward progression. And it focuses on what is my most important goal, what's critical and urgent towards my most important goal, what's beneficial and important towards my most important goal. That's it. Then I have an area of why. Why am I doing this shit? Why, and prayers and fuel, whatever it is. That's your little focus time. Then it's a timeline. Whatever time you wake up until the time you turn things off, all those critical and urgent and beneficial and important things that you got listed, they better have a time slot. And then notes, but only important notes. When you're in the middle of that storm and you feel like all hell is breaking loose, that is your North Star. You just open up that book and you go, all right, this is still what I have to get done today. I can still move 1 inch forward. That is literally the key. If you can do that, you can do anything. What you need to know: prepare to win the day every morning. I use this kind of visual for myself that every day is a race, right? It's like a marathon. There's a start, everybody's waiting. Let's call it 9 a.m. when a lot of people arrive at work. The end of the race is 5 p.m. when people leave work. What you're able to do within those productivity hours dictates your place in the race. Well, what if you could get a head start to that race and it wasn't considered cheating? And you could just start whenever you wanted. You still had to end at the same time or the end of the race, but you could get like a 4-hour head start or a 5-hour head start. Wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't you want to be as focused, as prepared, as dialed in, as locked in, as hydrated, as nutritionally sufficient as you could ever be? I would. And so to win the day, you must start in the morning. The other piece that the morning gives you is peace. Only when the rest of the world is silent can you hear its deeper vibration. If you're building something, you're not going to have peace during the day. If you have kids, you're not going to have peace starting at 6 a.m. Ever. You may find a half hour at night, but you're going to fall asleep on yourself because you're building something of substance with purpose, and it's taking every ounce of your soul to do. And so I wake up at 4, which sucks, but it's dead silent. And I'm not rushed. And there's nothing to do. And I can write and read and meditate, and there's no distractions. And in that peace, all of the answers you're looking for are going to pop into your brain. And then when the rest of the world wakes up, you have a beautiful head start. The answers to your questions are there, and you can be the most productive version of yourself. Small steps to waking up early. What time do you wake up today? Put it back 15 minutes tomorrow. How do you feel? Do you rush still? If you are, the next day, set the alarm 30 minutes behind. Still rushed? Keep going back in 15-minute increments. And then you will find the amount of time you need before the rest of your family or the world wakes up so that you can get everything done you need to get done. I'm not saying you have to wake up at 4. That's what time I have to wake up because I have 4 kids. And they get up at 6 and they get out the door by 7 to go to school. I then work out from 7 until 8. So for 2 hours, I have dead silence. And I get a lot of wonderful shit done during that time. For you, it's about what's the current wake-up time, and let's start going back in 15-minute increments until you find your perfect rhythm. And when you find that perfect rhythm, you do it until it's not enough time again. And then you start the process over again. You go back 15-minute increments until you're not rushed, your brain's at peace. Now, granted, you're going to have to change your sleeping habits. You can't wake up early if you go to bed at the same time of when you're waking up late. So how much sleep do you need? Actually need, not want to have. What does your body require? And you'll figure that out, and then that'll be your rhythm. Keep an unreal sense of urgency. How to do it. And I'm going to give a little context on this one, because you keeping an unreal sense of urgency and your team not keeping an unreal sense of urgency is going to create complete and utter chaos. So creating urgency is only effective if everyone is running at the same pace and towards the same goal. That goes back to organizing your day properly so it's your North Star, aligning everybody to what the company's most important goal is so everybody has an understanding of the pace in which you're working, why you're working like that, and everybody can manage where they are on this journey towards this goal. I think one of the most important things that we did early on was we kept this unbelievable sense of urgency. We did not leave the office or the manufacturing plant until everything was done. Everything was serious. Everything was a top priority. And we had a culture that was going to execute come hell or high water. That was unbelievably important. The culture of keeping an unreal sense of urgency is everything. Because if you have someone super smart that's a great culture fit, but doesn't match the pace in which you're running, you need people that are going to be running with you, next to you, maybe even in front of you a little bit sometimes. If people are behind you and you have to drag them, you cannot maintain the pace that everybody else looks to you to keep. You are, in a marathon, they hire the pace setters that come out for a specific amount of time to keep that pace going. That is your job as the leader. This is the pace we're going. If you can't keep up, I'm going to need you to opt out. Or if you need additional resources so that you can keep up, tell me what they are. I will provide them to you, and we will run at the same pace. Because the CEO's job in those early stages, build the brand, build the people, lead by example. And so the people, how you build those people, you effectively communicate, you over-communicate goals, and then you're always checking in with them to make sure, do you have the resources required for you to operate at the pace that I need? And if you do that, and you lead by example while building the brand, the world is your oyster. Thank you for coming for this chapter. We will be back next week for chapter 5. This is Greg Vetter and the limited series of Undressed, the unfiltered story of my failed American dream and how it led to success. Thank you for coming. Bye.